So last week I sent in a letter to the editor at the New York Times about the scientific consensus for greenhouse gas removal. So my letter didn't get published, but two others did. I want to share what they wrote and what it means for greenhouse gas removal and Operation Scale Supply. So the first reader wrote in that we need to quit fossil fuels quickly, but they also said that direct air capture is doing more harm than good, and they published an article that their company put out called Direct Air Capture, 5 Things You Need to Know About This Climate Scam. The other person wrote in that we need more widespread use of carbon dioxide so that industry can help absorb the existing and future generated carbon dioxide. So look, both of these readers have clearly nailed the need for decarbonization, right? Across the board. But both have missed that there is climate science consensus that greenhouse gas removal is needed in addition to rapid decarbonization. So at the same time, we have greenhouse gas removal featured in the IPCC report from 2018 on 1.5 degrees, and this continued in 2023 with the 6th assessment report that says carbon dioxide removal will be necessary to achieve net negative CO2 emissions. So we have this climate science consensus. At the same time, we have journalists and the public thinking that decarbonization alone is what's needed, is going to get us there. At the same time, we have a generation of startup founders building solutions that we need to hit the climate targets that are being modeled by the climate scientists. But the startups are growing slowly, or they're dying because they're not getting the funding that they need. So what will happen without a new approach is we're going to continue seeing these articles in major media saying that decarbonization is enough, and the public and investors and governments are going to continue to think that it is enough. And without investment in carbon removal, we'll miss on these climate targets and we'll be stuck with the worst impacts of the changing climate. So imagine if we get the New York Times on board with climate science from the IPCC that says we need both decarbonization and carbon removal. That is a world where policymakers, investors, startup founders, the whole world gets to invent this future where we're removing the gigatons of carbon that are needed alongside rapid decarbonization. So my question to you is, will you join me in getting the New York Times on board with greenhouse gas removal? Maybe you're a fan of the New York Times, maybe you know some people in media or journalism, or maybe this is something you want to hop on board with. So hit reply and let's go get the New York Times on board.